meat.
Welcome back from the break. Logan here, Mostly Superheroes, PC Mike, and the Giggler. In the second half of the episode here with the meat, all about the MCU. Been doing this really fun thing, watching the old stuff with the new stuff as Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe makes its way through 2021. WandaVision has come and gone. The Falcon and Winter Soldier has 6 episodes. We are going to talk about episode 4 at the end of this. We are definitely saving the best for last today. Let me tell you that. And with the old stuff, using the hashtag MCU Rewatch, get over and check out the whole library at mostlysuperheroes.com. All of these recaps, they're getting quicker, they're getting tighter, the connections are there. We hit the hits for you, tell you what matters most, and it's filling up the website. Have you guys been over there in a while?
Like, I have wet dreams about this page. It's so good looking.
It's better than dreams with the Joker, but
that caught me. So that was a full legit laugh I just gave right there. That was a good job, Giggler. Yeah, it looks so good, huh? It's just like you just scroll down it and you're like, look at all these awesome posters, movies, and library's looking good. If you have not been to the website, mostlysuperheroes.com, we keep it fresh. We update it almost daily, and the Instagram, like we always highlight. Go check it out. And today's movie, next up in the rewatch, coming off Captain America Civil War, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Taking place just before THOR Ragnarok. It's the 16th MCU title. Sony and Marvel Studios come together. And let me tell you, Marvel fans were pumped to see this. Let's give it up for this one. It is Spider-Man Homecoming. It came out July 7th, 2017, just 3 months after Guardians 2. So that was a fun year for superhero movies. The budget was $175 million, and it didn't do bad at all. It made $880.2 million. A lot of hype around the movie. This was the third remake, the third live-action Spider-Man franchise, if I can get it out. And let me tell you, man, I was excited for this one. Let's do some gut checks around the room. Giggler, when did you see this one last? Was it in your rewatch? A couple months ago.
I'm definitely, this is always on, the movie channels, and I find myself watching it. So that's right. I don't got to worry about the commercial conundrum that we talked about earlier, but I mean, anytime I see this is on, I'll probably turn it on.
And you've always talked highly of Spider-Man. Are you a big fan of the Tom Holland Spider-Man?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You like him.
Oh, man. I don't think I can have a Spider-Man ranking thing right now.
So. No, it's okay. Don't worry. You're going to have the opportunity to rate this movie, and we definitely got to talk about that maybe today. Maybe we'll see.
Let's just table that till Spider-Verse.
well,
not Spider-Verse.
Here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. We're going to do connections today, but I'm going to keep it a little light because we have to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home in 2 weeks. So that'll be a better time because that's the last Spider-Man movie you're going to see before Spider-Man 3, which comes out in December of this year. I mean,
crazy.
We got a Spider-Man movie this year. This is the first one, the first solo flick. And it did come off of Captain America Civil War. We'll talk about the connections. PC Mike, you watched it.
yesterday.
All right.
Feel prepared today.
Hell yeah. I'm so glad. How'd it go? And was it the first time you had seen it?
No, not the first time I've seen it, but it's been a long time. And I had to watch it on FX because I looked on Disney Plus. It wasn't there. I looked on HBO. I did my little voice thing on my remote. I could buy it for $4 and watch it on Amazon or rent it for $4. But luckily, Sunday, flipping through the channels, just like our movie madness, it was on.
Unbelievable. And you said FX.
FX.
Oh, well, and that's so
random.
You reminded me of all of this. I forgot that it's not on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, you know what I watched? I didn't even think about it. I bought it back when it first came out on digital release. So I watched my digital copy. But you found it on FX. That's awesome.
But Far From Home
is
on Amazon Prime for free if you have Amazon Prime.
If you have Prime.
Yes.
Really good to know. This is the kind of stuff I want to help people go out and find this movie. Mm-hmm. So much fun. Let's do the quick recap. Last time we did it in 2.5 minutes. Do you have a timer ready again?
I can do that.
Let's do it again. Let's see. Just for sake, I want to maybe aim for 2 minutes. But here's the thing. It's just too hard to know. But based on what we got here, we're going to wrap this thing up real quick. Spider-Man Homecoming, Phase 3, MCU title number 16. Really nice poster here from the Polytech. Appreciate it. And like I said, this was the coming together of Sony and Marvel. Spider-Man is a Sony property, and they basically lent out this character to make it happen. And it was pretty exciting. So let's do the quick recap. Andy, you got the timer ready?
Yep, you tell me when you're ready.
Go ahead and hit it right now in 3, 2, 1. All right, spoiler alert right now. Spider-Man Homecoming. Here comes everything that happens real quick. And a little bit of tidbits, connect the dots kind of along the way, give you the story. Came out in 2017. Again, this is based on Spider-Man, the Marvel character, world famous, created by Stan Lee, R.I.P., and Steve Ditko, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios, and distributed by Sony Pictures, of course. So that's where the collaboration comes in. And while this is the third Spider-Man we've seen on the big screen, first, of course, Raimi's Tobey Maguire, and then Andrew Garfield. This is the third iteration of the character we've seen in our generation on the big screen. And it's the first solo Spider-Man movie within the MCU. So that's like the big differentiator, is like, how is this Spider-Man movie different than the ones that came out before? It's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This character was introduced in Captain America Civil War as a recruit of Tony Stark, our Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., who plays a mentor character in this movie. You have Iron Man in this film. You talk about being in the MCU, arguably the most famous character out of the MCU is in this film. It's directed by John Watts. A lot of people in the kitchen on this one, but it came out just fine. But still, a lot of folks. Directed by John Watts. Screenplay by the writing teams of Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly, Watts and Christopher Ford, Chris McKenna, and Eric Summers. And stars Tom Holland reprising his role as Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man, struggling with the going from facing off against Captain America and all these Avengers. I mean, he literally fought Captain America, Falcon, the Winter Soldier in Civil War. This movie picks up right where it left off. He's actually watching video footage of like him fighting at the airport. It's awesome. I love that scene. Him and Happy. You got Happy in the film coming back as, Tony Stark's kind of right-hand man, played by the incredibly talented Jon Favreau, who's, usually in the writing room on all these films as well. And in this one, Spider-Man is facing off against Batman himself, Michael Keaton. This guy that's a construction worker gets his work taken away by the Avengers. He's like, I'll clean up the mess from the 2012 Avengers movie. There's your connection right there. And then they say, no, you can't. The Avengers will clean it up. He gets pretty ticked. He becomes the Vulture, the bad guy of the film. You also have Gwyneth Paltrow coming back as Pepper Potts. Zendaya's in the movie playing Mary Jane Watson, a.k.a. MJ in this one. A couple other names to be aware of. Donald Glover, Jacob, Batalon, Laura Harrier, and Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
Aunt Yay.
Aunt Tomei. A lot of jokes there. And then, like I mentioned, Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Tony Stark, a.k.a. Iron Man, a.k.a. the dad-like mentor figure to Peter. Mentor to Peter. In the film, Peter Parker learns that you can't really start at the top and be an Avenger. You got to be patient, work hard, and even if you have special abilities, you can't just be an Avenger. You got to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, work your way up. But he does end up beating the Vulture in the end, sends him to jail, ends up turning down being an Avenger in the end, even though it's offered to him. He says, I'm going to go have a little piece of that little life before I get called up to the big leagues, which he does for us fans in Avengers Infinity War. It's a great film. I loved it. And that's Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, I see it. Way too long.
350.
Oh, man. That was way 350?
Yeah.
I knew you were going down a path when you started talking about like production.
Well,
people.
Sometimes I just get carried away, and I want to give credit where it's due. But anyway, pretty quick. There's a nice recap for you, a little bit of the connections, the big stuff that happens. Let's talk about top moments in the film. My number one, for sure, is him crawling to the top of Washington Monument.
That's awesome.
So cool. The helicopter comes in, like, we're going to shoot you. And what they do really good in this movie is they really bring you down to earth of like, what would it be like to be Spider-Man as a young kid? He's legit looking down off that top of the thing, and he's like, I'm scared to death.
His suit's like oh, you didn't install your parachute or something.
Yeah, it says your parachute. Yeah, you didn't reinstall your parachute, so don't fall. Yeah. I also love Ned in this movie. His best friend Ned.
Ned's awesome.
I forget his name's on my list too, but I don't know I don't know which one he is. Maybe Jacob Batalon.
Yeah, Jacob Batalon.
That's it.
And he's hilarious. I love when he finds out that Peter, like his friend Peter, is Spider-Man, and the questions he gives him. Or he's just all of us. He says, "How do you shoot the strings?" He just calls them strings, and he goes, "If I could shoot strings, I'd just go to the top of a building and shoot as far as I could."
I mean, that's what we do.
That's literally what we do. He goes, "Can that spider bite me?" The one that made him into Spider-Man. And the in-fight stuff is awesome. I mean, Peter fighting Vulture, getting
Vulture was awesome.
Oh, Michael Keaton. What a bad guy.
It was awesome.
That's a great bad guy for someone I knew nothing about really prior. So
yeah, what'd it feel like, Mike, as seeing Batman as like just this full-on villain?
I think he just turned like 180 and like he was a villain.
I know.
Like him driving them, and you know it.
Yeah.
And Peter knows it, but he doesn't know it yet. And you see him like it finally click in the car when he's taking him to the homecoming.
Yes, it all comes together.
He's like, "Stay in here, Pete. I got to talk to you for a second."
And literally looks a 17-year-old kid in the eye and goes, "I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I'll kill you dead."
No, you won't.
Does he play a bad guy in anything else? Keaton? Is this like his first bad guy role? Sure. I mean, surely not. There's probably movies where he played like an antagonist, but like this is full on supervillain.
He was that. Well, I never actually hand up Birdman.
I was going to say, he's been a Birdman before.
That's right.
But he was an ex-superhero doing stuff, so kind of a down and out in Birdman, I think.
Well, Birdman is like, that's an interesting movie. That's totally different. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like that realm. I love the airplane scene, the whole concept of the Avengers are moving from downtown New York to the Avengers campus, and there's a flight that's going to take all their stuff, and Michael Keaton's going to try to rob this thing. I love that. And Genius. Mike, tell me about this fight scene with Spider-Man and Keaton whenever he uses his wings to make the concrete collapse on top of him.
He first says something like, "Hey, you ready?" Or something like, "You ready to do this, Pete?" And he's like, "You haven't even touched me yet." He's like, You thought I was trying to touch you?"
Yeah.
And then he like comes down on him. Awesome twist. The graphics and special effects for that flight suit, top notch.
Really look amazing. Really looks like it's flying.
I think my favorite person in this whole movie though is Hannibal Buress, who's the gym teacher.
Oh my god.
Hilarious. And they're watching like those Captain America videos. He's like, "I'm pretty sure he's a war criminal now, but I have to show you this."
Yeah, you got Captain America on the roll-in TVs talking to these kids about gym or whatever.
He's standing on the wrong side of the TV, and Captain America goes, "Here's your gym teacher," and he's on their other side, and he's like,
I love that little tie-in. You know, they're trying to ground you in that Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can feel that. That's cool.
And then Zendaya is not even mentioned as MJ in this, is she? She's like Michelle.
Not to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the very end.
She says like her name, and then she says, "You can call me MJ."
That is true. I don't know if I realized that. I guess I had just once I learned it, I just was like, "Oh, that's MJ."
Yeah.
I also said just basically every scene with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, just him on screen and seeing him in this movie. It's kind of, this is where I feel like the movie's hard to hate, is that this was a Spider-Man film. I think it did really well. And then you got him just hanging out with Iron Man.
It was cool. Like, I love that I just watched this so I can like add more
than
I usually do.
I know.
But when he first shows up,
you've been quiet during this section the last few weeks.
And it's just the Iron Man suit and it's empty.
Yeah.
And then the next time he's like, "You can't even come and be here for me." And he's like, "Boom, I'm here."
I'm here.
Like, that's cool.
And I love like the beginning of the movie whenever he's letting him out and he goes to open the door and Peter hugs him and he's like, "I'm not hugging you. I'm just opening the door." We're not there yet.
Classic.
So good. Any other top parts from you guys before we get into our ratings here? Gig or anything else that we're missing?
The ferry scene was pretty baller.
Ferry scene.
Hell yeah, just iconic.
Just like, yeah.
Like him with all the webs.
Gave me Tobey Maguire vibes when he was
It did. And
being pulled
stretching.
apart. Yeah.
Yep. And he just totally flubbed up. He just
98%. So they say.
What was that?
You had your survival percentage was 98%. So it had 2% that he messed up.
He just missed like a couple.
Yeah.
I remember when I first watched this, I didn't hate on it by any means. I always loved it, but I did feel like I was like, man, they really made him in like he's really a new Spider-Man in this movie. It's not like the origin movie of him getting his powers. It's like, this is what happens after he's already met the Avengers. He gets a new suit. All right, then what happens? But after seeing, without giving any spoilers, just after seeing what happens with him in the future movies, then we just mentioned there's a third movie coming out now in December. I mean, this is the potential in my mind just to be a staple Avenger. It's like this could be a character like, and I understand kind of this route of, he's got to learn his ways. He's not just awesome. He's got to learn.
And they're doing something new because at the very end, Aunt May catches him in the spider suit.
Yes.
And has Aunt May ever really known that? Not in the Tobey Maguire movie, she really didn't.
Well, it's hard not to give a spoiler alert when we say what happened, but spoiler alert for Into the Spider-Verse, Aunt May does know.
Okay.
In the Spider-Verse. But like that's the only time I'd seen it. She's like the badass in the Spider-Verse. She like has a shotgun.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll definitely do that one.
That's fun. That's a good one.
Giggler, any thoughts on this? Actually, feel free to go ahead and give your rating on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
If you're ready. And if not, we can go to Mike.
No, I wrote it down earlier. I just got to make sure I quote this correctly.
And sticking to it is like the biggest thing. Because for me, I get really excited in the moment and I just want to yell like 4 every time. And I'm like, just read your notes.
All right. 3.4.
Wow. Okay. Damn. Yeah.
This is, so rewatchable. Like you can jump in at any point in time in the movie, which I have done so many times in the past, and just be entertained until the end.
Yes.
I love the kind of newer-ish Spider-Man story. It's the same but also different. And just how it connects to everything else.
Mm-hmm. Poor Uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not even like mentioned. Really.
Yeah, I mean, they could still tell that story some other time. Who knows?
We've seen teases.
We're jumping into like the next movie.
Yes, I know. And that's the trick, is like not getting too far, but connecting the dots too.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. PC Mike, any other thoughts that you didn't get to share? Because you watched this one and love to hear your rating.
I don't really have any other thoughts. I have not seen the next one.
Did you have any problems with it? I mean,
for a Spider-Man movie, I really enjoyed it. I love the high school aspect better than the Tobey Maguire ones. It felt more real.
Yeah.
I hated how that one kid was just picking on him the whole time, the DJ.
Flash.
Like why are you picking on him the whole time?
That's in the comics. That's who in that
That's Flash
Gordon?
Thompson.
Yeah, Flash Gordon. That'd be cool.
Flash Thompson in the Peter Parker one, or not in the Tobey Maguire ones. That's Joseph Manello or whatever.
Mangello.
Oh, yeah.
Manginio.
He beats him up in the...
Yeah.
I still can't say his name right.
Yeah. I saw that the other day.
Mangelo,
like a few weeks ago.
like
and he knows it. What is it?
Manganiello?
There you
go. He's married to...
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
He's married to Sofia Vergara?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but he plays Flash Thompson. And this one, it's like
he looks better. That's a real Flash Thompson. That's a bully.
That's a bully.
This one's like a dweeb.
He's like a dweeb bully, and he's a DJ.
Yeah.
And like they're in the elevator scene where they're saving him. He's like, "Save my trophy."
Yeah. Then what's he call him? Like Poop Parker or something like that? Penis Parker.
Yeah, Penis Parker.
They're all chanting.
He's going, "I say penis, you say Parker."
That's high school. That's high school right there.
I did love the whole high school component. I agree. Like, you feel grounded in that. Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird that the girl's just like at the very end, I guess we're moving to like Portland. I hear it's nice.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's how we're writing this girl off.
The daughter of the Vulture.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see like what happens to a family when they find out their dad was a murderer.
Yeah, we're just gonna move to Portland. My mom says it's nice.
And he was a murderer. Yeah. Like he legit was killing his squad at that point. He just went too far.
Yeah. But no, overall loved it. I actually have the same score as Andy, 3.4.
No pressure.
It's
could be higher if I didn't watch it on FX. Probably.
Yeah. So does that mean there were commercials?
Not commercials, but then I just jumped on my phone, or I actually paused it for a while and did some stuff and came back and.
Yeah. So this one, I like it. Like I said, I had problems with it at the beginning, but looking back at it, I agree with you, Andy. You can't really. It goes from one great scene to the next. The characters are so great. Tom Holland, wonderful. Ned, hilarious. I think Marissa Tomei, Robert Downey Jr. kills it. And nice connection and sets you up to feel some real big things in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. We'll get in those connections in a minute. I'll go and give you my rating. It's a 3.4.
Oh, what a sweet.
I was like, okay, we're not going to be the same again. We've done this before. It's not the first time.
I'm excited for the next one because I've never seen the next one.
You've never seen? Oh, that's great.
It's another Spider-Man one.
And we'll talk about it. You really should see Endgame before that one.
I've watched it.
But I know, but it's like right after it. So, it's like that's the first movie that came out.
After, so Endgame happens and then...
It's the first, they call it a Phase 3 movie. I think technically Far From Home is Phase 3, but I mean, it should be Phase 4. I don't know why it's not, because it is.
After Endgame?
Post-blip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did they talk about the blip?
Yep.
Oh.
You see some stuff.
I think that's good. I mean, that's high level.
Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mystico.
All right, there's our ratings. Let's do end credit scenes. So you get Vulture meeting Scorpion in this one, played by Mac Gargan. You might recognize Mac from Better Call Saul. I'm sure he's in other stuff too, but he has a little scorpion neck tattoo. They're in prison. He's like, I heard you know who Spider-Man is. Keaton surprises Saul and says, I don't know who he is. He's like, still keeping his secret, protecting him now.
What could that mean?
What do you think? He's like,
that's a possible start to the Sinister Six. Right there.
I have the note right here. Hey, well, hold on. We'll get into it. Number 2, Chris Evans is the second scene, end credit scene at the very end. Did you watch it?
No, I don't think it had it on.
It's hilarious. I remembered this in theaters.
Yep.
And I remember being like, these motherfuckers. Because it's just him doing another one of those educational videos. And he says, one of the greatest lessons a soldier can have is patience. Sometimes patience leads to victory. Sometimes it leads to nothing. He's just like, it's that slow. And you're just looking at him and you're like,
it's not even on the Wikipedia.
What?
For
the end credit scene?
Yeah. I mean, it has the one
that
you just talked about with the scorpion.
I wonder if there's another situation where they took it out.
Yeah. It's not on here.
All right. That one didn't really do anything for the story, but I thought it was hilarious. Here's some MCU connections. Andy, getting right into what you were talking about. All right. First of all, some ones that you could watch to help, but you don't have to. Iron Man movies, Captain America movies. One that would really help is the Avengers 2012 movie. I would say that none of those are needed, though. If you're like, I just want to pick up a Spider-Man movie, you could watch this. You don't need much, and it's a fun film.
That's a good point.
Some must-sees, though. I would watch this movie, Homecoming, before you watch Infinity War and Endgame. There's some big payoffs for that. And, of course, Spider-Man Far From Home is the sequel. We just talked about that. And then this December, 2021, we will have Spider-Man No Way Home. We're going to talk all about that in just a second. And then Doctor Strange, not all about it because obviously we got a sequel to talk about, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that comes out in 2022. We have heard Benedict Cumberbatch has been seen on set in Spider-Man No Way Home. So they filmed in Atlanta. They saw him on set. So this might be a movie you need to see before Doctor Strange. Who knows? Let's get into the weird stuff very quickly because we've got to talk about a Phase 4 title here in a minute. But get into what Andy was talking about, setting up the Sinister Six. Okay, here's some weird stuff. Sony movies and characters that could connect to this world. Because Spider-Man is a Sony property. And I've got a nice little recap for you here. So Morbius is coming out. You guys familiar with Morbius?
With Jared Leto.
The living vampire played by Jared Leto. This is a movie that's coming out in 2022. January 2022. Okay. I mean, right at the end of the year. And Michael Keaton's in the trailer for that film. Like
same Michael Keaton
looks like as
that is at the end of the Spider-Man.
Wearing like the same jumpsuit. Okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
And Jamie Foxx Electro from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Sony, and Alfred Molina's Doc Ock from the Sam Raimi Maguire Spider-Man are confirmed in that movie. Spider-Man No Way Home. They're confirmed in that movie. Those are Sony properties, 2 different Spider-Man films. Thanks to CBR.com for the help there. My question there is like, how? But like, it's got to be multiverse.
Yep.
It's got to be. And that's got to be the Doctor Strange tie-in. And so because of that, unconfirmed, these are rumors. These are our wish list, you could call it. Tom Hardy's Venom. Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire himself playing Spider-Man, and same for Andrew Garfield coming back. Those are kind of the maybes.
Insane.
insane. All theories right now. I want to keep it quick because we go down rabbit holes.
Oh yeah.
But we know that we would love to see all that.
Have you guys seen the pictures of like the casting? Like they all like signed something on the like they just finished wrap filming for the No Way Home, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So they like everyone signed like a photo or something like that, and people were like zooming in on the signatures to see like if they were similar to like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield.
Oh, I bet.
And people are like, "Oh, it's right there," but you just don't know.
How would you ever know?
They were literally picking up like side by side photos of like a Tobey Maguire autograph on a picture versus what was on there. That's insane. Just give me the movie and let us know.
Hey, but like I said, we got a couple confirmations in there. I mean, Electro's coming back. What in the world?
So cool, but
all right. All right. That's Spider-Man Homecoming. Hope you appreciate the recap going in the MCU library. And coming up next in the rewatch, we do ours in release order. It's the order we're sticking with at the moment. Lots of ways to watch these things. But coming up next in release order, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, and Avengers Infinity War. So we're definitely going to do Thor and Black Panther. But we just did the Infinity Saga special at the beginning of the year. Those are set, but I'm still going to be watching personally because there's no way that I could watch all these films and then not just watch it again. If you guys want to like get together and watch it.
Okay.
Like outside or something.
Yes.
Little fire pit.
WrestleMania.
I'm saying.
Marvel, whatever. I'll be out there all day.
Let us know when you're watching these films and use that hashtag MCU Rewatch to take part in the conversation.